I want to come back to this idea of intent and uh, and impact. The words, the words that people say. It's not the intention behind the words, but the impact of the words themselves. And Yasmin Page says, you assume everyone understands the difference between rhetoric, performance, and actuality, as you believe. Some literally hear the word, and the only thing they understand are the actual words. It sounds a little bit like a parable from Jesus. He said he would take up a gun, so I'm going to take up my gun. Remember January the 6th and why the people stormed the Capitol. It was Trump's words. They thought he wanted them to storm the Capitol building and take power. They believed the words, not the intent behind the words. That's why what words or how you describe things or when you use certain words mean a lot. It was one of his own people who tried to kill him. I heard the person was an aficionado or anything political and loved political history. It would be interesting what his thoughts were on why he chose his own leader. The problems with reporters and presenters like you say they are performers and say things for effect rather than ask searching questions and then listen to the answers. They talk over the person halfway through their reply to look tough and totally ignore their answers. If it's a got you moment they want, it's there in their answer. They can't think on their feet because their questions are designed by a committee and they themselves don't quite understand the subject. Nigel Farage has become the media darling, I notice. They go to him for everything, more than the government ministers who have our futures in their hands. And they can't be good because he will give them the clickbait answers they want. The people that elected him will come to regret it. He is not interested in anything they do or what happens to them and their community. All he wanted was a community stupid enough to give him a voice and a legitimate platform to shout at the world. He will probably speak at a Trump rally as a British politician, and Americans who don't understand how British politics work will think he is so important as the leader of 5 MPs when the legitimate government has 411. Absolutely, I agree. The problem here is exactly that the person who is answering questions, the person who is responding, is more powerful than the person in government who is constrained by cabinet responsibility and by a certain dullness. But there have been political giants before who have been able to answer questions. There have been interviewers who have been able to put questions, and particularly secondary questions, to an a person they're interviewing. We just don't have these people on the television or in the media at the moment. They are missing, and it's to our disadvantage. As for the difference between wording, there's a huge difference between satire and political analysis. There's a huge difference between what somebody might say and what somebody might hear, and we have to be very careful about the words that we use. And in the heat of the moment, we may well use language which perhaps over eggs the omelette, overstates the case. And indeed, within the context of social media and the rapid exchange of information in mainstream media, generally, there is a tendency always to overstate the case, whichever side of the argument you're batting from. Do we need more moderation? I don't think moderation is something that's going to happen. Moderation means dullness. Dullness means people switch off. I think we need more context, which means we need the people who are doing the interviews. We need the people who are who are presenting the programs to contextualize and to produce greater background to the words which are being spat out. And that isn't happening at the moment. That is a failure of the media. I don't think it's fundamentally a failure of the politicians. The politicians are doing what they can with the limited means they've got. And so certainly when I've spoken to politicians, they've complained to me endlessly, it seems, about the list of things they're allowed and not allowed to say. So that is at the front of their mind. Together with the slogans. I don't think their brain has a great deal of scope to comprehend a proper question and to construct a proper, thoughtful answer. It's not how they're trained at the moment. We need to change that.